Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Mr. Kovalt, and in this video I'm going to be going over unit conversions focusing on metric units. So in chemistry and in science in general, you're going to need to be able to convert between metric units. And that means you're going to need to know your metric prefixes and what the prefix multipliers are. I covered that in an earlier video, so if you need a refresher in that, then please see my video on the metric units and how to set up the conversion factors. I'll be showing a little bit about that in this video, and I'll be going over a couple of practice problems. So let's get into this. So in a chemistry class, you're going to be always asked to write out conversions. So in this video, I'm going to go over a couple of examples, and I'm going to show you how I set up the conversion factors for metric units. So as I said earlier, you're going to need to be able to set up your conversion between two metric units, which means you're going to need to know your prefixes and their multipliers. So let's get into this. I will show you how to solve these two problems here. So problem number one, you're asked to convert 365 nanometers to kilometers or kilometers. And so you're going from this unit to this unit. So you need to set up the conversion factors. So what we have here is nanometers. We're given nanometers and we're trying to find kilometers. So you need an equality between that. But notice that you have a prefix here. So you have nano. Meter is your base unit. So you have nanometers and you have kilometers. Meters is your base unit again. So you're converting between two metric units that have prefixes. And so it's usually difficult to figure out like what the relationship is between those two units if they both have prefixes. So it's much easier to figure out what the relationship is between the base unit and the prefix unit, because if you know the prefix multiplier, that pretty much gives you the equality and it gives you the conversion factor you need. So it's always better, even though it's a two-step process, it's easier to go through the base unit as a middleman than just try to convert directly from one prefix unit to the other. So let me show you how that's done. So, um, so we're going to have to go through the base unit, which is meters. And so we need a relationship between nanometers and meters, and we need a relationship between kilometers and meters. So here, I'll write it up here. So if I know the prefix multipliers, then the way I set it up, as I've shown in my other video, is I set the equality between the base unit and the unit that has a prefix. So here I have the unit with the prefix. Let's start with nanometer. So here's nanometer, and there's meter. So I always put the 1 on the side with the prefix. So I'm going to put a 1 on this side because nanometer has the prefix. And then I take the prefix multiplier. In this case, nano means 10 to the negative 9. So 1 billionth. So 10 to the negative 9 is the prefix multiplier for nano. So I'm going to put that on the side with the base unit. 10 to the negative 9. So there's my equality. I can now use that as a conversion factor. Let's do the same thing with kilo. So kilo, I have a certain number of meters is equal to a certain number of kilometers. So once again, I put the 1 with the prefix unit. So kilo is the prefix. So I put a 1 there. And I know kilo means 10 to the third or 1,000. So I'm going to put 10 to the third with the base unit. So there's my other equality. So now I can use these as conversion factors to convert from nanometers to meters, and then from meters to kilometers. So let's set this up. So as usual, you always start with what they give you. So you have 365 nanometers. I put it over 1. You can do the line notation, or you can just put multiplication. Let's try line. So if you use the line notation, you can just draw the line out, put a perpendicular line there, and then I can do my first conversion. So I'm going to go from nanometers to meters. So since I have this relationship, I'm going to use that as conversion factor. Since I have nanometers on the top here, I'm going to put nanometers on the bottom. How many nanometers? 1 nanometer. So 1 nanometer goes on the bottom, and 10 to the negative 9 meters goes on top. So now my nanometers cancel out. Now I can go the next step. So now I have meters. So I've gone to meters. Now I can go to kilometers or kilometers using the other equality. So I have meters on top. I want meters on the bottom. So I can use 10 to the third meters. That goes on the bottom. And then 1 kilometer goes on top. And meters cancels out. Now I have kilometers, and that's what the problem is asking. It wants me to convert to kilometers. I've got kilometers. Now I'm done. So all I have to do now is just multiply and divide. So I put my equal sign, I get my calculator, and I calculate. And when I do that, I get 3.65 times 10 to the negative 10 kilometers. Let me make sure I got that right. Yep. And so this is my answer in kilometers. All right, let's do the second problem. So in the second problem, I'm asked to convert 4.352 micrograms to megagrams. So same thing. I got to come up with my conversion factors. I'm going to convert to the base unit first and then to the other prefix units. Since I have a prefix here, I got micrograms and I got megagrams. I want to go from micrograms to megagrams. So first, I need an equality between micrograms and grams, which is the base unit. So I put my line, I put grams. That's going to be equal to a certain number of micrograms. And again, I always put the 1 with the prefix unit. So 1 there. And micro means 10 to the negative 6. That's the multiplier. So it's 1 millionth of a unit, whatever the unit is. So 1 microgram is 1 millionth of a gram, or 10 to the negative 6 grams. So that's going to be 10 to the negative 6. So there's one equality. Now I got to do megagrams. So here, again, I'm going to put grams. That's going to be equal to a certain number of megagrams. I know this looks like magnesium. It is not magnesium. It is megagrams. The capital M is the prefix mega. So again, I put 1 with the prefix unit. So 1 goes here. And then here I put the prefix multiplier. So mega here is not 10 to the negative 6, but 10 to the 6. It's a million. So a megagram is 1 million grams. So this is going to be 10 to the 6 grams. So now I have my 2 conversion factors, my equalities that I'm going to use. And now I can convert this many micrograms to megagrams. So we start with our number 4.352 micrograms over 1. And this time I'm going to use the multiplication way. So I'm going to multiply by my conversion factor. And so since I have micrograms on top, I want micrograms on the bottom. So 1 microgram is equal to 10 to the negative 6 grams. So 1 microgram goes on the bottom, and 10 to the negative 6 grams goes on top. So micrograms cancels out. Now I have grams. Now I'm going to convert to megagrams. So now I use this conversion factor. Since I have grams on top, I'm going to put grams on the bottom. So 10 to the 6 grams goes on the bottom, and 1 megagram goes on top. So grams cancels out. I have megagrams. That's what they're asking for. So I'm done. So once you have the unit on top that you're looking for, that means you're finished. You don't need any more conversion factors. So you just put an equal sign. Now all you need to do is multiply and divide and get your answer, which is going to be 4.352. So it's going to be, oops. 4.352 times 10 to the negative 12 megagrams. So that is your answer. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do unit conversions with metric units and their prefixes. So I hope this is helpful. If you enjoyed this video, then please, by all means, like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, make sure you hit that notification bell, and hit all so that way you can be notified by all the videos I put out. And then finally, put a comment down below in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Ask me questions. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for joining me, and have a great day.